What is up, everybody? Welcome back. I got a lot to talk about in today's video or today's live podcast. Welcome in. I appreciate y'all for being here. First off, before I even begin, I do want to appreciate everyone that went and subscribed to Aloha Android 2.0 on that channel. It's just mostly me vlogging on camera, whatever. It's kind of separate from like recording video of a phone and showing all that stuff, right? Just kind of like where I want to just kind of cut loose and talk tech. Actually, it's mostly Android, right? So you're not really going to see so much about like iPhones or anything like that on that channel. It's just mostly like Google, Android, Pixel-centric channel, just specifically. And just me vlogging my thoughts about it, just being a fan of, the products. To a degree, I still am a fan of Google Pixels. Still going to use them. Still going to get them. It just changes up my method of how I get them and how long do I wait till I get them type of thing, right? But anyways, let's kick the tires and light the fires and get straight into the subject itself, the Pixel 8a price increase. And look, I'm going to be very, very honest with everybody. We're going to complain and we're going to bitch about it and we're going to piss and moan, but we're still going to buy it. It's still going to happen. You can't go and throw shade on Samsung about them raising prices on something and, but then people still go out and buy them. You just can't. You can't throw shade on, iPhones raising prices and then they still go and buy them, right? Believe it or not, whether most of the Pixel fans, such as myself, I'm a fan myself, but most of them probably don't realize the same things that they call out, fans of iPhones or fans of Samsung Galaxies, like when they talk about pricing and stuff like that, and then they throw like all the stuff at them, like, oh yeah, but you're still gonna buy it. Doesn't matter what Apple does, Apple can put a piece of turd in the box with the Apple logo on it, and you're gonna buy it. Well, Pixel fans, we're starting to be that way because Google is gonna do these things. They're gonna raise prices on these things, and we're still gonna go buy them. And so that's the thing that's like really just kind of like. Bye. My son's stepped in real quick to get something. I just skipped the year if I don't like what I see. I think a lot of people do that. A lot of people that that's got like their head screwed tightly on will do something like that, right? They'll wait till it goes down in price, right? They don't have to have it absolutely exactly at that moment. And that's kind of the way that I am with these phones, right? Now, people kind of wonder, like, oh, dude, you got an old ass iPhone 11 Pro Max. That's like a 2019 phone. Why are you buying it now? It's because I've always wanted to try one, and I waited until it was in the price range that I'm willing to spend for one. That's how I buy my phones. I wait until it's in the price range that I'm willing to spend for it, not what Google wants me to pay for it. So if I have to wait a little bit longer, fine. If I'm still going to make my review of it because how I feel about a phone is going to be different from the 100,000 tech YouTubers that's on this platform. They're going to have a slight different experience. Some of us regurgitate the same fucking thing because, we enjoy the same thing when it comes to the phone. And so that just pretty much will tell people like, hey, that phone's pretty solid. If 150 tech channels are mentioning the same things that they enjoy about the phone, obviously, then it's a pretty good phone, as far as for that specific thing that they're mentioning. But I digress from that. Let's get into this whole thing. TJ, what's up, man? Let's get into this whole thing when it comes to the Pixel 8a. Already being said, pricing is $549. Okay, so we're kind of getting that idea. Now, I would love to be shocked at Google I/O if they announce this thing and they price it, at $499, the same as the Pixel 7a, right? So my sources, which I put in the description, both pages I'm going to be looking at to kind of just talk about this, so you guys can look at it yourselves. 9to5 Google and Android Police, but I'm starting off with 9to5 Google. They're really just kind of mentioning on it. They kind of just go over like the previous prices, right? Like the Pixel 3a's launch was $399. The Pixel 4a, which was probably the most champion of the A series devices, launched at a $349 price tag. The 5A and the 6A both launched $100 more than the 4A at $449, and then the 7A launched at $499. Okay, so like rumors and speculations basically are going off to say that the price of the Pixel 8a is going to be $549. Um, the Pixel 8 we know goes for 699. We know there was a price increase with the Pixel 8 and the 8 Pro to a degree. Um, yeah, so about $150 difference. Okay, I see where they're kind of going with this. And they just kind of talk a little bit, about the Pixel 8a. They kind of go in, obviously it's going to get the Tensor G3. It's going to get the basic, okay? Like some people are like, oh, I wonder if it's going to get Gemini Nano. I fucking doubt it's going to get Gemini Nano. For the simple fact is that the Pixel 8 won't even get Gemini Nano. And as much as we're out there making videos and complaining about that, that's not going to change Google's mind anytime soon. So, yeah. Interesting thing it says here, the store listings further mentions variants with 128 gigs and 256 storage options, as well as 4 colors. The color listed are pulled directly from the Pixel 8 Pro, so with obsidian, porcelain, bay, and mint. So they're gonna have those exact same colors in the 8a. That's kind of weird. Why didn't they do that for the Pixel 8? Is the Pixel 8 the red-headed stepchild? Is it AKA Wendy's? I don't know, maybe. Interesting. So $549 for the Pixel 8a. Some of the headlines that I'm seeing that's talking about this is literally like just throwing it out there that this is no longer, the affordable Pixel, or kind of the same context like when OnePlus started to raise the price on their devices, and then everyone was like, OnePlus is no longer the flagship killer. They're kind of like, putting the Pixel 8a in that kind of limelight. Like, the phone's not even out yet. So that's something that we also do have to kind of just wait for to see. Like, we're getting all these leaked informations, and I'm getting those leaked info from credible sources that, have been spot on in the past, or maybe sources that have been like 85% correct. You know what? But like for me, and the way that I judge these things, it's like we have to wait until they actually officially announce it. A $549 price tag does peak it up there, right? And, I think the only reason that I find this to be a negative, I appreciate that. The only reason why I feel like this is a negative is not so much because they're raising the price to $549. Like, on better circumstances and in a better economy, $549 wouldn't be too bad of, as long as they're implementing new things into the Pixel 8a. Now, if it's specifically going to have, just bare bones of like what the Pixel 8 is offering, yet they raised the price, kind of like what they did with the Pixel 7a, which was dangerously close to just being a written off device, then we would have to start, really, really kind of just like questioning Google and their tactics here. See, one of the problems with Google Pixels, and me being a Pixel fan, I know this because I've dealt with this for a long time, was Google's inability to for people to jump on board Team Pixel. Like, yes, they reached out to YouTubers and gave YouTubers review units for them to keep, as well as a gift. Like they gave them a review unit and it gifted it to them. Like, you guys can keep it. And you had like a ton of people on YouTube just, reviewing the phone. But then Team Pixel just got way out of control. You had, just a lot of people that was always like wanting to get into Team Pixel. I was one of them. But it was hard for me to advocate myself towards this team for the reasonings that I wanted to be in it. It was very hard to do that when you had countless other creators that just make phone reviews, and they were like, I want to be in Team Pixel, send me a free phone. So I mean, the best thing Google did was kind of killed that project off. So, you look at the entirety of it. It was really hard for Google to get Pixel off the ground, as far as people gravitating towards it. Nowadays, more people are opting to go with Google Pixel phones. They hear great things about them. They see lots of videos. They see a lot of people on social media just loving these devices. So they're like, hey, I'm going to give it a shot. And we're also starting to see Pixel phones in TV shows. The other day, I was watching a TV show with my wife on Hulu, and this TV show we were watching, a person had the Pixel 6 Pro. And I was like, cool, So yeah, I mean, it's taken some time, and I feel like that, Google, with the Pixel 7a was dangerously close to killing that momentum. And now with the new things that they're doing with the Pixel 8 not getting Gemini Nano and the reasonings behind it, which is still very vague. And then you have AI features that should honestly be only Pixel exclusive being given to the likes of Samsung and other OEMs. And then you got the most expensive Pixel ever made, the Pixel Fold, being treated like the redheaded stepchild. There's just a lot to frown about. When that project was going on, a lot of people jumped on it. Then when it got to the point where it was getting real bad, they ripped it out from under the people. Yeah, they had to. I mean, they literally had to. I mean, they could have been irritated with me on just, how many times, a couple of people that are subscribed to my channel really championed for it. One of the guys that I will always have respect for and appreciate, him trying to push to get me on board with Team Pixel, is Technoid. Technoid had been very vocal about it. He's the creator of the hashtag Tito for Team Pixel. Like he really advocated hard. And even at one point he made a rant video about it, which shocked the hell out of me. But I was honored that he did that. So literally, yeah. But I think it was the best idea for Google to shut down the Team Pixel program, where they're not just bringing any creator from YouTube on. Was probably a very good thing for them to do. Google again making questionable moves. Yeah, I mean, to me, this is just my opinion on it. To me, I only question it for one reason, and that's our economy sucks. Our economy sucks right now, and it has sucked for the last 3 years. It has been shit. We have seen everything go up in price. Like I drive down the street and not to sound like some sort of freaking drama TV show or whatever, but I do feel like crying sometimes when I see people living homeless on the streets. And it's so weird how that bracket works. Like I see a lot of homeless families, a woman, maybe a child or two, and her spouse or her boyfriend, and they're lugging suitcases with wheels behind them because that's all they can use to carry their personal belongings, with a stolen shopping cart from a freaking grocery store that didn't have those wheel locks on it to put the rest of their personal belongings in. And then I see them have to park somewhere and make a makeshift tent, maybe at a city bus stop, maybe behind the city bus stop, maybe behind a grocery store, just to provide shelter for them and their kids to sleep. And they're sleeping in sleeping bags or blankets or those types of things. And, to be realistic, I'm looking at them and I'm like, okay, I would have normally seen families like that, living in the most ghettoest neighborhoods, but at least having like a roof over their head. But now they're in the homelessness situation on the streets. And then you have, the mid-class families that would, be in decent neighborhoods, finding cheaper rent in the most dangerous ghetto areas of my city, just because that's all they can afford. And then you have the upper class, not wealthy but doing all right. I see them standing at the local, here they call it DES, trying to get food stamps because they got to make ends meet. So we're not doing so good when gas, can be anywhere from, $3.50 a gallon to $7 to $10 a gallon, depending where you are in the country, where a 2-pack of T-bone steak damn near costs $46 just for those 2 slabs, 2-inch cut. When milk is literally running you between $3 to $8 to $9 a gallon. Like, we're not in the best position right now for Google to price hike the Pixel 8a. I know that there was people that did not get the Pixel 8 because the way the economy is and where they have to kind of like stretch a dollar and budget their spending. We're holding off for the Pixel 8a because like myself, I was like, okay, if I spent $700 and something on the Pixel 8, what would I have sacrificed to buy that phone? Well, I can just wait until the Pixel 8a comes out and spend far less than that and have a very similar experience, because again, that's what the A series did. It brought the same Pixel experience you would get from a flagship to an affordable price. But we didn't get that this time. We didn't. If they're raising the prices to $549, that's up there. But it doesn't surprise me because the Galaxy A55 is around that price. Of course, the Galaxy A55 justifies its price hike to over $500 because they switched it up. It's no longer a polycarbonate body or like glasstic back like on the Galaxy A54. Now it's actually a glass back and it's metal side, so it's pretty much a Galaxy S24 with I believe an Exynos chip. It's pretty much what it is. So it doesn't surprise me that Google's going to try to match that and the Pixel AA go for $549. Now, if we were doing great, if the economy was where it was at 4 or 5 years ago, where gas was becoming cheaper, food was more affordable, maybe then I wouldn't be so hard on Google for this decision of theirs to raise the price. Like, I don't know. Tito's part of the real Team Pixel. I appreciate that, Brian. I really do. They're the jabroni squad. Doesn't The Rock own that terminology now? Or like, didn't he like own the rights to the word jabroni? I read something on that. I don't know if that was like satire news or what. Thank you, bro. I feel bad for people, but at the same time, sometimes that way because they get some type of money from the government because of that situation. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I can't really look at every family out there and say that whatever their situation is, because I don't know what their backstory is. I don't know if it's because the economy is too hard to survive in, or it's just because they made poor decisions, or they could have addictions. We never know, right? But still, though, one thing I can say is that if I took a picture of my block 3.5, maybe like 4.5 years ago, there was not that much homeless people as there is now. And a recent neighbor of mine just got served their eviction. Like they had an eviction paper served on them like 2 months ago. So yeah, I guess you guys can call them squatters, but they stayed as long as they could until they were forcefully moved out of their apartment. They have nowhere to go. Like a lot of things in the city, like at least from my city, a lot of things have changed because a lot of people from California moved here. So we have a lot of people from LA and from all those cities moved here because of what California is doing. So they've moved here. So everything here has gone up in price. Rent has gone up in price. Like a 2-bedroom apartment used to be anywhere between $850 to maybe about $1,100 a month, is now $1,600 a month. And if you want it in a decent neighborhood, it's about $1,800 to $1,900 a month. If you want it in the slums, if you're willing to, protect yourself by having weapons in your home in case of home invasions, and you don't go out very much at night, so you don't have to worry about mixing with the bad element in those neighborhoods, like the gangs and stuff like that, you're still looking like at $1,300 to $1,400 a month, man. It's getting bad. Absolutely bad. Right. So just don't buy them. And when sales fall, they will rethink. See, that's the problem. Like, that is a solution, right? Basically, speak with your dollars, speak with your wallet. Problem is that there's a lot of people that's going to be mad today that it's $549, but on the day that it releases and the pre-order comes up, bam, they're right on the website pre-ordering, right? So it's not going to change. I already know it's not going to change. We can wish for it, we can complain about it, but it's not really going to go anywhere. Because the same thing happens with flagships. Like, people complain like, oh, you guys raised your prices by another $100, but it doesn't make sense. But then when pre-order hits for the Galaxies or for the iPhone or for the new Pixel, it's like, take my money. Boom, there it is. It's getting more organized than what it was back in the day. There. What do you mean by, oh, there are you near you? Yeah, Sundar Pichai's a douche. That dude is just like, he needs to be outed. I don't buy on release date either. I think out of all the Pixels that I've owned, that I've owned, but that I do own, all the Pixels in this drawer right here, All of them were never bought on release date. The closest one that I bought that was close to release date was the Pixel 6. Pixel 6 came out in October. I bought me and my wife a Pixel 6 in mid-November. Your area back in the day, it wasn't as bad as it is now. Yeah, it wasn't as bad as it is right now with homelessness in the neighborhoods and everything like that. The area was always bad. This is a gang infested neighborhood. There's like 8 different gangs, and you just see them walking up and down the street. It don't ever mess with me. That's one thing that I can at least appreciate, right? It's like, they do their stuff, they do their dirt, but like, I could be walking with my son to the store, they won't bother me. When the Pixel 7 Pro underperforming? Yeah, I know there's a couple of people that were like that had similar issues that were pretty upset with the Pixel 7 Pro, which is why that they have a bad taste in their mouth about the Tensor G2. It's understandable. So far with just my regular Pixel 7, I really haven't had any problems. I had some problems in the beginning, a little bit of, bugs here and there. I've had those, but it's never gone any further than that. And right now it's a pretty smooth experience. So I consider myself to be lucky. I just don't understand a lot of this stuff that Google is doing, like alienating the Pixel 8, basically saying hardware limitations. Is the reason why it's not getting Gemini Nano, but Galaxy S24, same specifications as the Pixel 8 minus the chip. They have the Qualcomm. That is getting Gemini Nano. I don't know. It's just so weird. It's such a weird thing, and that's why I dropped that little piece about if Google is trying to destroy the Pixel brand, because they could be trying to do that, or maybe they're just testing us to see if they did raise prices, how would we react to it, and maybe word of mouth will pop again if the Pixel 9 and 9 Pro were a little cheaper, which I doubt. I superly doubt that the Pixel 9 and 9 Pro is going to be cheaper. Just for the way that Google is positioning them. The design of a phone will tell you what you need to know about a phone. Okay? If you see something like this, right? Oh, can't really see it unless I turn it that way. If you see something like this, 9 times out of 10, you're probably going to pay a decent amount. Okay, when you look at the 9 Pro and the way that it looks, the way that it's been designed, you already have this feeling just by looking at it that they're really kind of going all in on a flagship that is going to cost. It wouldn't surprise me if the Pixel 9 releases at a price tag of $749. It wouldn't surprise me. Overheated during my vacation, was stuck using my iPhone instead. Yeah, man, that's gotta suck. I haven't had any overheating issues with my Pixel 7. Like even recording in 4K 60 frames, it gets warm, but it doesn't get so unbearably hot that I can't hold it. I don't know, I'm just lucky. Pretty soon, a lot of tech reviewers are going to be grabbing stuff like this friggin' TCL phone, and be hyping the shit out of TCL because that's what's going to be in like the affordable budget. The 8 Pro will have the same fate as the 8 when the 9 comes out. I will wait till they from the Exynos chip. Well, the 9 and 9 Pro is they're not going with Samsung to build the chip. So the Tensor G4 is being built by another manufacturing company. It's not going to be built by Samsung. So they too are doing the same thing that Qualcomm did. Because Qualcomm used to have Samsung build their chips for a while, and then they moved away from that. Google's doing the same thing. I forgot the name of the company that is going to be doing that. Let me look it up. Now I'm intrigued by that. Okay, never mind. They are. Samsung's still going to. So I guess we have to wait for the Pixel 10. Because it says right here that Samsung Electronics Foundry Division is rumored to be building Google's next Tensor chip, the Tensor G4, based on Samsung Exynos 2400. Ooh. The Tensor G4 is expected to be an 8-core chip with one Cortex X4 core, 3 Cortex A720 cores, and 4 Cortex A520 cores. The X4 core is clocked at 3.1 gigahertz. The A720 cores run at 2.6 gigahertz, and the A520 cores have frequencies of 1.9 gigahertz. The chip is also rumored to have the Mali G715 GPU instead of the AMD RDNA 3 based Eclipse 94 chip. Okay. Never mind. Samsung. It's gonna be Samsung. Oh my god. I was like hoping that they would go away from that. Oh. But then speaking of Samsung, makes me wonder, because like a year and a half ago to 2 years ago, right, we started seeing this real big relationship starting to brew within Samsung and Google. And I'm also wondering, because Google wanted to move away from Qualcomm and go to having their own Tensor chips, right? Chips built specifically to run AI features. Makes me wonder if there was some sort of agreement with Samsung, because Samsung basically helped them out with the Pixel Fold. We know the foldable technology basically is from Samsung. So that also leaves me with my head. Now I'm reaching here, okay? So don't take what I'm about to say as gospel, or, take it with a grain of salt. But sometimes I feel like that maybe Google has to do this because of the help they received in the Tensor G1 and G2 and G3. That basically Samsung was like, yeah, kind of pull your punches with some of your earlier devices with the Tensor base. And we would like some of the stuff to come to our stuff. Right? Because it's only so weird that Gemini Nano is going to all the Galaxy S24 series devices, but Pixel 8 Pro is the only one getting it. And there's this hardware limitation thing that's said, and people talking about that there's the language model needs to run on more RAM. And it's just like, oh man, because I mean, these things do happen in business, right? And if I have something that another business needs, actually, I'll put in a better context for a tech community. Some people always wondered why on Boost Infinite with AT&T Access it's so shitty, right? And it's like, because they have an agreement with AT&T, and AT&T is not going to give them the best connection on their network that surpasses their own postpaid. Excuse my loudmouth dog. Same thing like with Boost Infinite's connection with T-Mobile. T-Mobile's not going to give them the best access over their T-Mobile postpaid customers. As MVNOs, they're just not going to do that. So that is why, when people are like Boost Infinite sucks, well, like, yeah, the only way you're really going to know Boost Infinite is to get the Rainbow SIM and to be on Dish Wireless Network completely to really know what Boost Infinite is all about. That is the only aspect of Boost Infinite where it's not considered an MVNO, but an MNO themselves. So yeah, that is that. Right? So, same thing. Like Samsung is just not going to have that partnership. I mean, yes, they know that they can't just go and threaten out Google and be like, yeah, well, our Galaxy S24 is not going to run Android, because they know that Google, in a way, and has in a way needed Samsung to really kind of push the sales for Android, because Samsung has been that. It's been that vessel for Android. Like, we could talk about the Nexus brand. We could talk about earlier Google Pixels. And yes, they were great. They were fun, right? But Samsung for years has always kind of been that vessel for Android to go up against Apple and iOS. So Samsung knows that they don't have a bargaining chip to threaten them with Android per se to that extent. I mean, they could if they really got Tizen off the ground, but Tizen's just not that. I'm just saying. Anyways, yeah, so could this be the result of that? Could this be where Samsung's just like, hey, golly, man, don't get chihuahuas, people, don't. Yeah, at one point they did. At one point that they had this shot that they were going to really push Tizen. Problem with that was that a lot of people weren't taking to it. TouchWiz already had a bad thing going on. So is somebody here? I think somebody's here. I'm sorry. I'm getting distracted by my dogs barking. I think someone's here. Anyways, yeah, I just heard the door open and close. Tizen pretty much TouchWiz, right? And a lot of people were like Tizen, if it's like TouchWiz, it's gonna suck, right? Because a lot of us hated TouchWiz. Shit, I had old Samsung Galaxy devices like my Epic 4G Touch, and I fucking hated TouchWiz. That I rooted the hell out of that and flashed so many custom ROMs to show people different AOSP based ROMs to get you off TouchWiz. Tizen was good on Galaxy Watch 2. Yeah, I would agree there. Like, you know, an operating system may not be the best functioning operating system on a smartphone, but could also, you know, be a good functioning operating system on an IoT. I mean, has anyone heard anything else about Fuchsia? No, we haven't heard really much about Project Fuchsia anymore, because ever since that they released Fuchsia on the Google Home tabs, like the little mini tablet with a speaker, kind of what the Pixel tablet is on a larger scale, or the Nest Home, whatever they call it. They released Fuchsia on that, and that's pretty much it. Like, Fuchsia goes to things that are like IoTs, right? Like smart refrigerators, you know, that's got like a display, a touch display on the refrigerator, those types of things. But as far as like, you know, everyone's worries about Fuchsia replacing Android, no. And then in that aspect, Google was kind of smart about that to a degree. I mean, I really wish the Zircon kernel would have made its way to Android. I would have liked that better, because the Zircon the Zircon kernel, the Zircon kernel is way faster than Linux. I don't want a smart fridge. I don't think anyone really wants a smart fridge. Well, people that enjoy the finer things in life would probably want a smart fridge where they can watch a YouTube video on their refrigerator screen while they're, you know, cooking or whatever. I don't know. I've always lived a humble life and a poor life, so like those types of things fascinate me, but it's not things that I absolutely have to have. You know, I can deal with the bare minimum. You know, like today, like I gave my 8-year-old son a flip phone for emergencies, right? So it does calling, does texting, but mostly just uses it for phone calls. And it's got a couple of pre-installed games. It runs KaiOS, and he's like happy with it, like as if I gave him an iPhone. And I'm just like, yeah, he is my son. Always looks at the glass as half full and half empty. He's like super excited. He came in here to grab his blanket, and he's pretty much like chilling, playing, like, I guess like they have like a game that's like Frogger on that flip phone, and they have a chess game. So like he's actually practicing playing chess, which I think is pretty cool. So I'm gonna see how he does on that, and I'm probably gonna buy like a chess set, and I'm probably gonna battle him and see, you know, if he's figured out strategies, and see if he can, like, you know, take my king in like 5 moves, get me checkmated. Kind of worried now. Oh, my fridge needs to do. Oh my god, not give you any lip. I don't know if the fridge speaks, but I know it's a touch display and it runs that, right? Like even washing machines, like, oh my gosh, there's washing machines that run Android or Fuchsia, if that's what it is that's on there. And like you could program it to start washing your clothes at a certain time, and, you know, flip into a dryer afterwards, so your clothes are ready to come out when you get home from work, and you can fold the clothes and put it away. Soon, I think someone's gonna develop an automatic, you know, machine that folds your clothes for you, just like literally folds your clothes. We're on the cusp of that. We're on the cusp of modern day technology needing to replace basic things that we do, almost like that movie WALL-E. My 8-year-old son made that reference. He had to do a paper in school about technology and what it means today. And so my son made reference to the movie WALL-E, where a lot of humans were living on that spacecraft and those floating chairs, and robots were doing everything for them, feeding them, entertaining them. They didn't do anything. So like the human population was very obese because they didn't even get up and walk. And I looked at my son, just kind of like freaked out, like, your brain ticks like this? Like, it's cool as fuck, you know what I mean? But I also want him to be a kid. I also want him to enjoy being a kid. But he thinks about these things, and it's so weird. And he talks to me about it from time to time, which is why, you know, I said, here's a flip phone for you. He corrected me and said it's a dumb phone. And I said, you don't like it? He goes, no, it's a dumb phone. It just doesn't have apps and stuff that you install like Androids and iPhones. And he saw that there was a KaiOS store, and it just allowed him to like download games that he can play that are free. And what's even crazy is how fast he picked up on T9 texting. I was like thinking to myself, like, this is stuff that when I was a teenager and a young adult, like I was doing on cell phones, right? T9 texting. Very rarely you got a what they call a feature phone. Like I think my first feature phone was the LG Rumor Touch. That had a QWERTY keyboard, and that made texting so easy and everything like that. But T9 texting, I would say I was pretty fast at it back in the day. And I was thinking, like, my son is not going to pick this up pretty quickly. And just on the drive, because we go on evening walks together as a family just to, get out there and walk. And, yeah, man, he was searching stuff. I mean, he's got his YouTube that he can watch YouTube on, and he's searching everything, like, really fast typing. And I'm like, the only question he gave me tonight was, hey, Dad, how do I type out a word? And I was like, oh, you see the number keys and how they have letters underneath them? So you tap the number 2 once for A, you tap it twice for B, you tap it three times for C, and then you hit the 0 button to space your letters or your words. He's like, okay. And like 20 minutes later, he's on it, like literally just freaking like, oh my God, he figured out T9 texting so quickly. Folding clothes therapeutic? I don't know about that. At least not for me. It's therapeutic for me, honestly. Writing stories. I like to type up stories. I know my mother, before she passed, she used to tell me that I should be a writer for the things that I type up. I type up stories, I read them, and then I completely delete the files. I don't know. Maybe I'll try my hand at writing when I'm like in my 50s. See how that goes. I know what is it? The guy that's running Storyfire now. He has a YouTube channel on here. Pogo is his name, or the name that his channel goes by, or whatever. But anyways, he unlocked me to upload videos on Storyfire, and he keeps inviting me to post some stories, like write some story series on there. And I'm like, man, maybe I'll do that one day. Magic box, not with 5 kids. What do you mean, folding clothes for 5 kids? Yeah, that's not therapeutic. I think it just depends, right? Everyone has like different things that they find to be therapeutic. Me and my wife walking and just talking, I mean, I find that's therapeutic for me. It allows me to share my ideas that I have in my head with my wife, and she knows where my mindset is. I know where she's at. I mean, lately, me and my wife are doing a lot more things together. Now that she's changing her lifestyle, and plus too, I gotta say, like the recipes that she's coming up with cooking dinner has just been kick ass this past week. It's like she has to slowly reintroduce foods back, to her body. So like she's not eating steak or anything like that right now. She can't have it just yet. But like, her portions are very small. At least in my opinion, they're very small because I'm a fat ass and I eat quite a bit. And I'm changing that. I'm changing all of that to basically support my wife. She has a doctor's appointment in 2 weeks. They're gonna check her levels. They're gonna see where she's at. I know she was pre-diabetic before. I'm for damn fucking sure that she's probably not pre-diabetic now. In the 2 weeks, since she was in the hospital, she literally lost 30 pounds. It's so fucking crazy. I already told her, like, my next paycheck, she can take that check and go buy her some new clothes, and then the ones that she has, take it easy, Magic, and take the clothes that she has currently right now and donate them. She'll probably kill me if I share the story, but I'm gonna share it anyways. So last night, like, she wanted to show me that, like, she has these shorts that she likes to wear to sleep, right? Because they're comfy, they're not too restrictive, they allow airflow, so she doesn't get hot in the bed. And she put those shorts on last night after she took a shower, and she comes in the room, she's like, these barely fit me now. And so she kind of like my wife is short, okay? She's like 5'1". And so I call her legs Velma legs, like Velma from the Kid Scooby-Doo cartoons. And so she's like trying to run in the room, and the shorts just drop. I'm like, oh my God. But yeah, she's doing good. She's losing the weight safely, and just a lot of things that she and I are doing together. That I mean, I've just been having fun. Been having fun making videos with her. Me and her blogging about her experiences and what she's going through and her changes and whatnot. And yeah, it's just crazy to see. It's crazy to see like all the results. So like I'm following her in support. You know, not eating as much as I used to and cutting out certain things that I shouldn't be eating. And for me, it's been great. I've had a ton of freaking energy. I've had a ton of energy. I sleep better at night. I wake up feeling like I've slept, and I'm just like, whoa, just ready for the day. My day starts at 6:47 a.m. I'm up all the way until about 11 o'clock at night. So in about 2 hours here, I'm gonna be hitting the hay. And what's cool is that my kids are joining us. So like the last like 3 days, my kids have been going to the park walking with me. That's where I've been recording those these last few videos. If you guys been seeing, I've been at different parks. I've been, just like recording B-roll footage for a video and just doing voiceovers on them. On the Aloha Android 2.0, I'm actually doing vlogging where I'm on camera. That's going to be the difference between this channel and that channel. And that channel is strictly like Google Android. This one is like all tech and other things too. How about the real Team Pixel? I appreciate that, but I don't know how people are going to take to the Pixel 8a being up in price, being at $549. I just know that people are going to be like really upset about that. And if I don't see anything that's like superly different between the Pixel 8a and the Pixel 8, other than the size, I mean, I think the only cool thing that's going for is that they say it's going to be smaller than the Pixel 8. So to me, that's Pixel 5 territory. That's the sweet spot. That is the fucking sweet spot for a Pixel phone. I'm sorry to say it. I know some people like bigger phones, and hey, that's fine. You can get a bigger phone. But I enjoy smaller phones. They're more manageable. And so if the Pixel 8a is the same as the Pixel 5 in size, that's great. That's a one-handed using phone, right? If you want something a little bit bigger, get the Pixel 8. If you want something even bigger, get the 8 Pro. That's what I'll say. But anyways, I'm going to call it a night. Those that watch the replay, is it going to have the same processor? Yeah, it's going to have the Tensor G3. The Pixel 8a will have the Tensor G3. They're saying that there's actually going to be two storage options now, a 128 and a 256. So if I'm hoping this is one point I forgot to get to. Hashtag ADHD Tito, because I just rambled off into other things without finishing up on this. But if there's two storage options, I'm hoping that it's $499 for the Pixel 8a and $549 if you get the 256 model. Since 9 to 5 Google's reporting that. But you guys can read the details. It's in the description, the link to 9 to 5 Google and to Android Police. You guys can get all the deets that they have so far from rumored information about the Pixel 8a. I'm hoping that's what it is, and that it's not $549 for the base 128 gig model and then $599 for the 256. That would totally suck. But yes, it's going to have the Tensor G3 chip. It's going to have that. As far as RAM, I'm going to go on the whim and say 6 gigabytes of RAM. It'd be nice if it had 8 gigs, but that would put it on par with, I believe the Pixel 8 has 8 gigs of RAM, I believe. Yeah, it does. Because the Galaxy S24 base model has 8 gigs of RAM, and that's going to run Gemini Nano. And I digress from that because that pisses me off. But, you know what would piss me off too? What would really grind my gears? Say it like Peter Griffin. What really grinds my gears? If the Pixel 8a gets Gemini Nano, then I would really, really want to go all the way to freaking Silicon Valley, wherever Google hangs its hats. I'm going to find the head honcho of the Pixel project. And I'm just gonna slam my shoe right up their ass, because if this thing gets Gemini Nano, but I doubt it will. You're still hoping for a 9 Pro Mini? I don't know. That could also be what they're trying to do, is flip the A series from being mid-range, because it's really not. Like, in all intents and purposes, anyone could argue this point to me, but to me, the phone is not. I don't consider the A series a mid-range device. At least these days. Now, before, like the Pixel 5a and under, yeah, mid-range, because they had mid-range processor chips like Snapdragon 700 series chips or Snapdragon 600 series chips. But the 6A, 7A, they have the Tensor chip, same as their big brother base model flagship and their Pro models. So to me, they're not really budget devices. They are they are budget devices. They're not mid-range devices. They're like budget flagships. They got all the features of the flagships. Their body build is what's really different. That's where I will leave it at that. But all right, I'm gonna go. Looks like my wife's almost done cooking dinner. I'm gonna go and help her finish the rest of dinner. And yeah, that is that. Let me know what you guys' thoughts are. If you guys are the replay crew, hashtag replay crew, leave your comments in the comment section of the video because I'd love to know your guys' thoughts about this. And I'm going to continue more coverage of Google and their weirdness, as well as vlogging on Aloha Android 2.0. So you guys want to subscribe to that channel so you guys can see like my actual vlog videos on that, where I'm just like talking into the camera and giving you guys my insight, kind of like cutting loose there. Thank you guys for joining me for tonight. Really appreciate that. And I will see you guys next time.